Chapter 1. 14 years later. It used to be the heart-rending screams that frayed Madeleine Parker's mental strength into threads. But these days, the limp lifelessness of her little sister Roxy's limbs, and the deadened apathy in her eyes during the endless doctor's appointments, squeezed the last drops of hope from Madeleine's dry soul. Staying positive will help her progress faster, they said. That ship sailed years ago. Back when it started, Mom lasted all of one appointment with Roxy's ear-splitting shrieks, shredding her heart, while a nurse held her sobbing frame in the hallway so that she wouldn't take Roxy home before her session ended. Since then, the torch passed on to the only other person in the house with a driver's license and no officially recognized parental responsibilities, the underappreciated older sister, who should have been out on her own 8 years ago as a rite of passage, but stayed because Mom needed help with the newborn, then the partially mobile toddler diagnosed with Morquio's syndrome, and more recently the school kid needing to be driven everywhere. So Madeleine put on a brave face as she carted Roxy from doctor to doctor that trenched their family deeper into debt. Mom and Dad already felt guilty enough that they hadn't taken Roxy to her infant checkups, resulting in them missing the signs of the syndrome in the first place. They didn't have the money. What little they had saved paid for Mom to give birth in a certified birthing center because paying hospital prices was out of the question. Okay, that's it for today. Great job, Roxana. We're getting closer to our goal. The perky nurse clapped with too much forced cheer. Madeleine shifted her gaze to Roxy with a mocking smirk playing on her lips. It melted away instead. Roxy sat on the edge of the table, chin tucked to her chest, with tears running onto her shirt, silent and swift. She never cried anymore. Thanks. Madeleine faked a smile at the departing nurse's back as she left the room. Her fingertips slid over Roxy's frame. Rockstar, what is it? Did she hurt you? You should have said something. The lump in her throat grew as Roxy stayed frozen in that position, sniffling. She wrapped her arms around Roxy's waist and laid her head on her shoulder. Together, they breathed in and out, Roxy's steady heartbeat a comfort. Baby girl, tell me what's wrong so I can help you. So I can fix it. Fixing was what Madeleine did best. In fact, her entire life depended on it. Her parents didn't notice when certain creditors quit calling and the doctor's offices stopped sending them unpaid balance statements. What they did see overwhelmed them. They focused on surviving, never mind trying to break the cycle of poverty they were stuck in. Why are we doing this, Maddie? Roxy asked with a soft whimper. Madeleine's hand smoothed against Roxy's curved back. To help you... No, Roxy said, rubbing her tear-stained cheek against her neon green shirt sleeve. Why are we pretending I'm going to walk? It's using time and money, and I'm tired of it. She tilted her ever-present pad of paper towards Madeleine, showing her latest drawing. Roxy's tone was pleading. I can design clothes from my chair. I can sew while sitting in my chair. I can get pretty much anywhere I want to go. I can stand up for a few seconds to make alterations if I need to. Her hands gripped Madeleine's shoulders as she scooted off the table to drop into her wheelchair, their well-rehearsed dance. This doctor should have worked already, if he were going to, Roxy said. Roxy looked older than her 8 years. Her tired expression and sagging posture fit Madeleine's 26-year-old body better. They could leave this behind, couldn't they? If Roxy didn't want to keep doing this, did they need to? She'd given up hope. There was a very small chance that Mom and Dad would notice she stopped her appointments. But when they did, Mom would be so mad. Madeleine and Roxy would never hear the end of the lectures on perseverance and the poor character that quitting encouraged. Madeleine wheeled her out the door to the elevator. I'll talk to Mom about it. We really believe you can get out of this wheelchair and walk, Madeleine said. Roxy snorted and said, I'll tell her myself. She'll let me. I live an active, healthy life. Not you, though. You work on your computer or play video games or drive me everywhere. You don't go out because you don't have friends anymore. You've had 5 dates. You don't exercise. You hide your sweets under your bed as an adult. Are you happy, Maddie? Ouch. Well, she hadn't expected a child to flay her open with such matter-of-factness. How had she found the candy? Guess that solved her question of if Roxy was snooping on her. She pushed the wheelchair to the car and muscled Roxy into her booster in the back seat. Madeleine leaned on the top of the trunk and jiggled her key in the lock until it popped and she could twist the key to open it. A former owner reversed into a light pole, creating a dent so magnificent it prevented the trunk's door from operating without a weird ritual being performed. The door's personality fit in well with the rest of the rust-spotted body. She hated her car sometimes. How was it that folding the wheelchair and putting it in was the easiest part of the entire loading process? With a sigh, Madeleine closed her eyes against the stinging building behind her eyelids. No, raising her sister wasn't ideal, but in no lifetime did she want to live without Roxy. When you say it like that, you make me sound like a deranged killer. Roxy cranked her window down as fast as her short arms could wind it. Don't worry. I'll pretend to be the shocked little sister when the world finds out. Madeleine shut the driver's side door with more force than necessary. The frame rattled for a second as if it were about to fall to pieces right there. So what if she didn't have someone else's perfect existence, or even her own? She was fine with how things were. She'd accepted it. Her car came alive with a roar, vibrating with each gentle nudge of the gas pedal. As she pulled out of the parking lot, she watched Roxy from the rearview mirror. Where is this honesty coming from all of the sudden? She asked. Roxy leaned forward to shout over the noise. The back seat was especially deafening. I want to go on a vacation and travel like other families, but Mom always says we don't have the money, Roxy said. Of course. Her friends left town the minute school went on break for a few days. Okay, where are we going? Madeleine asked. The words were barely out of Madeleine's mouth when Roxy said, New York City Fashion Week. Nice choice. That does sound exciting. We'd have to find the perfect outfits to wear, Madeleine said. Roxy bounced in her seat and said, I thought I would sew us some of my designs, and then, if anyone liked them, we'd be wearing my portfolio. Roxanne, the kid designer, making headlines. Madeleine grinned. When was the last time she'd seen Roxy this excited about anything in their life? Maybe she was right. They could all use a break from their normal grind. At home, Roxy sped off to plan their exact outfits. Madeleine changed from her going-out sweatpants to her lounging sweats, her idea of peak fashion. She plopped into her desk chair and rubbed her temples. The vacation Roxy wanted most would cost thousands. Flights, hotels, food, show tickets, appropriate clothing. Did they own a set of luggage? Per usual, the girl wouldn't dare choose a normal 8-year-old's getaway, like a theme park or the zoo, or anything that might offer a heavily discounted coupon for it. Holding her breath, Madeleine checked her bank account. Some of the monthly bills had just been taken out, so her balance needed a boost. She logged on and posted videos and pictures until Mom called them for taco dinner night. Madeleine made dinner most nights, but Mom cooked when Madeleine was at afternoon appointments with Roxy. When Mom found meat cheap enough, or when Madeleine bought it with her own money, they sometimes got chicken tacos or enchiladas, but usually it was rice and beans and salsa. Mom was the daughter of a Mexican immigrant, so the recipes always tasted authentic. And she never complained that Dad, an eclectic genetic assortment from the Great American Melting Pot, put copious amounts of queso, sour cream, and shredded cheese on his meal, and her girls followed his example. To make her feel that she didn't fail altogether, she made sure her children knew fluent Spanish. Dad insisted on eating dinner as a family every night, the one moment of the day they all came together. Though physically at the table, her parents used the time to mentally escape. Dad often looked at his phone and shushed them if they got too loud. Mum just revelled in sitting down to a hot meal in a quiet environment. From 6 to 6, she clocked 12 hours in a packaging factory, and the noise grated on her. So Madeleine and Roxy talked softly about books, movies, Roxy's day, anything and everything except her disability and her appointments. But tonight, Roxy broke tradition. Mom, I'm quitting physical therapy, okay? Roxy said, as if telling Mom she decided to change her favorite color. Madeleine had to give her props. Her tone, timing, and delivery were impeccable. Mom nodded. Okay. Roxy raised her eyebrows and smirked at Madeleine as if to say, see? Madeleine and I are going to go to the New York City Fashion Week with the money instead, and I'm sewing my own designs for us. Roxy grinned, since the top of Mom's head was all they saw. That sounds like fun, Mom said in a light tone, then took another bite. Mom wasn't listening, and Roxy knew it, but Roxy had said it loud and clear for Mom to hear. Later, when Mom got upset at what was going on as she did, Roxy would state the date and time, since she remembered those kinds of things, and Mom would have to admit she hadn't listened. 1 point for the kid, 0 points for the adult. Madeleine had long since stopped trying to force her parents to listen to the wild and chaotic schemes Roxy invented to get away with. Her drawing attention to them made Mom upset, and Dad would reprimand her for telling on her sister. It spiraled in the worst way, so she let her parents soak in their consequences, while she watched from close enough to make sure Roxy didn't get hurt, but far enough away that she didn't catch the blame. After dinner, Mom closed herself into her room to tutor her students in the English language for a few hours. Dad sat on the couch smoking his pipe, absorbing the calm before leaving for night shift at the rail yard where he worked as the switch operator. He smoked cigarettes at work or in the car, but Mom only tolerated the pipe inside the house. After Madeleine put Roxy to bed, she clicked on her television and gaming console and sat in her gaming chair. This was where the magic happened, where her dreams came true. She'd amassed a decent following for her vlog, Playing to Survive, where she recorded herself playing video games and posted for others to watch. It brought in a growing additional income, but she'd hit a plateau with her earnings. Last year, a couple of gaming companies reached out to ask her to beta their new game and then play it again to review it after it released. Doing that gained her account a lot of followers, earning her some money, as well as more requests for reviews. The floodgates opened, and she had to turn down offers for reviews, betas, and low-paying sponsorships, because she didn't have enough time. Females weren't super common in certain gaming circles. In others, they weren't welcome at all. But that's where Madeleine played anyway, to beat back the boy club's stranglehold on the market. Companies invited her to attend in-person competitions and conferences, but she never attended. In her mind, her absence created a mysterious aura around who she was. In reality, there was not an ideal time to dump her responsibilities back onto Mom's very full plate. Besides, her sweats treated her nicer than any numbered flat waistband ever would. A thrill coursed through her as the competitive gaming site loaded up on her screen. This was her secret, happy place. Finding the matches and tournaments that would net her the most money and credits in her few free hours felt like hunting the biggest prey. To warm up, she spent an hour banking small match wins. If she let herself, she'd get nervous and ruin her focus. Tonight was the deadline for the $100,000 grand prize for the LA Race of Doom tournament. The top score at midnight Pacific time pulled in the cash, a gamer's international VIP conference pass, and a host of other lesser prizes that she would rather be money instead. The leaderboard already boasted impressively high scores she needed to beat sitting next to names she recognized. The size of the pot drew plenty of attention from the smaller sharks in the ocean, but six figures rarely tempted the big-timers who chased after purses in the millions. $100,000 extra would change her family's life. There might even be enough left over for her to get a place of her own, close by where she could spend her day gaming and caring for Roxy. The excitement that brought her came with a niggling worm of guilt. It was selfish of her to long to put aside her responsibilities. Mom and Dad never did, but she also didn't approve of a life of working with no leisure. The oppressive drag of the week suffocated a body who had no promise of time away from work. She did a quick internet search about Race of Doom while she logged in and registered for the prize. Players could try as many times as they wanted for the highest score. Everyone had their own strategies. Hers was to get to know the ins and outs of the race with several losses, and then switch gears to play to dominate. The game itself wasn't difficult to navigate. The graphics were seamless. Forums said there were glitches in earlier versions which would throw a great score into the abyss at random. But the bugs had to be worked out for them to offer such a big winning on it now. After a few games of ending in the middle of the pack, she grabbed a snack and went to the bathroom. When she came back, she locked the door behind her, put on her headphones that played her hype music, and got to work. Game after game, her score edged higher. Her attempts became cleaner and more precise. Her research online gave her tips on how to break into the secret realm, which dropped her far ahead of her competitors and earned her triple the points. The highest score she ended with placed her a healthy distance above the rest of the pack. Still, she stayed at it. The higher her score, the less chance of someone edging her out. Soon, the game notified her that this would be the last run to count before the scoreboard shut down. Cleanest run she'd done. New high score flashed on the screen with streamers and confetti. It beat her highest by 500 points. That had to be it. No one else was close when she started the round. Her throat tightened. A down payment on a house. No debt. A vacation for all of them. A new to her car that didn't roar or have rust holes. Financially ahead for once. Avocados for breakfast and fresh fish for dinner. She pulled up the leaderboard, her stomach on fire with nerves. Roxy's shining eyes and face filled with joy appeared in her mind's eye. They'd celebrate with donuts and freshly squeezed orange juice. 100 grand was a click away. One hand gripped the controller, the other buried itself in her messy bun, slouched on the side of her head. Please, please, please. The numbers and names scrolled theatrically. Her name raced towards the top, and landed in second place. Her heart plummeted to the floor. Shock stole the air from her lungs. How had that happened? The scores she'd registered were far above everyone else's. Her last run had been perfect, hitting every boost and score maximizer along the way. This couldn't be right. Then, the anger slammed into her. Who had ripped that money from her grasp? They probably cheated. First place, Ze Comandante. What kind of Hitler crap was that? She typed it in the internet search bar to see who the jerkwad was that would have a name that horrible. He had to be one of those bottom crawlers that never saw the sun or knew how to turn on a shower. But she didn't hit enter, because it didn't matter who he was. She hated him, and every hair on his greasy, acne-filled head, and the tattered, wholly-stained, grunge-band t-shirt he wore every day over his sagging belly, and his hairy, disgusting, fungi-riddled toes. He was a monster to steal away that joy, that hope. For her, it meant breaking the poverty cycle. To him, it probably meant more Lego sets in an underground dungeon of unopened boxes. She wrenched around, buried her face in her pillow, and screamed as loud as possible. Then, with a deep breath, she walked to the bathroom to brush her teeth. There, in the medicine cabinet, sat a bottle of melatonin. Roxy would be up in 6 hours to get ready for school. Her mind wouldn't let the loss go without examining it from every angle. She popped a pill and crawled into bed, defeated. Tomorrow was just another day.